Hello everybody, Miss Apple here. So in the previous video I spoke about Roman mythology and now let's look at Greek mythology in a very brief way with keywords mainly from our source X and our beautiful tool artificial intelligence. Okay, so history of Greek mythology, how it was born, grew and conquered the world. Greek mythology is not a single book written at one time. It is a 1,500-year living tradition that changed constantly. 1. Bronze Age roots, 3,000 years before Christ up to 100,000 before Christ. Minoan Crete is Mycenaean Greece, linear beating. God already has names were recognized as Zeus, Poseidon, Athena, Hera, Dionysus, Artemis. Poncha, Lady Mistress, probably an early mother goddess. No stories survive, only names and offerings. The myths themselves were still oral. Yeah, there was no technology back in the day, so everything was oral, just like I'm emitting a message right here. Okay, number 2, Dark Age and Archaic Period. Birth of the epic tradition. After a Mycenaean collapse, stories are passed orally by bards. 8th century before Christ, Homer, Iliad and Odyssey, and Hesiod, Theogony, and Works and Days are the first written versions. Theogony, the genealogy of the gods, Chaos, Gaia, Uranus, Cronus, Zeus, Aurelian, Olympic order. Iliad and Odyssey, heroic age, Trojan War, Odysseus' return. These poems freeze the canonical pantheon and become the common cultural textbook for all Greeks. Number 3, classical period myth becomes art, philosophy, and civic religion. Tragedy Athens 5th before Christ. Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides retell myths to explore justice, fate, and human limits. Oedipus Rex, Medea, Oresteia. Sculpture and vase painting. Every temple and pot shows myths. Parthenon, frieze, Archelaus, and versus Hector vases. So much art in prose. Local variants flourish. Athens emphasizes Athena. Thebes and Dionysus and Heracles cycles Argus and Danae, etc. Philosophers begin to criticize Xenophanes, mocks anthropomorphic gods. Plato wants to ban Homer from his ideal state. Number 4, Hellenistic and Greco-Roman period myth goes global. After Alexander the Great, Greek myths spread from Spain to India. New ruler cults. Alexander as god, Ptolemy's as Isis plus Serapis. Liberius, Libraries of Alexandria and Pergamon collect and edit every variant. Euphemus, Eumerus theories gods were once human kings. Rationalizing approach. Romans adopt and rename the gods now. Standard Greek pantheon. Jupiter, Venus, Apollo, etc. See previous answer from mythology. 5. Late Antiquity, Myth versus Christianity. 391 after Christ. Theodosius the first bans pagan sacrifices. Myth survives in school texts, art, and private devotion. Christian rites attack myths. Zeus loves affair, but also use them allegorically. Christian as new Orpheus. Last Olympic Games 396 before after Christ. Last Oracle of Delphi silenced. Number 6. Byzantine and medieval survival. Myths preserved in handbooks. For instance, the Library of Photius, Tsetsa, and especially the 10th century pseudo encyclopedia, appear in church art as moral warnings. Western Europe almost loses direct access after fall of Rome. Number 7, Renaissance and Modern Revival, up until today. In the year 1417, Poggio Bracciolini rediscovers Lucretius' wave of lost manuscripts. During the 15th and 16th century, Botticelli, woo! Birth of Venus, Raphael Michelangelo of Paintsmiths. 17th to 18th century, opera is basically reborn Greek tragedy. Monteverdi, Gluck, Mozart. Woo! 19th century, Romanticism and archaeology. Schliemann digs Troy and Mycenae to prove Homer right. 20th to 21st century, myths everywhere. Food Oedipus complex, Junk archetypes, Disney, Percy Jackson, video games, Netflix. Chaos, blood of Zeus. Okay, yeah. The main layers of Greek mythology you still meet today. Layer, layer, time written down, keywords examples. Cosmological, 18th century before Christ. He Hesiod Hesiod Theogony. Heroic Trojan, 18th century, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. Local hero called 7th to the 5th century after Christ. Theseus, Athenians, Heracles everywhere. Tragic 5th century, Sophocles, Antigone's Euripides. Rationalized 4th century, Pelectatus and Euphemerus. Romanized 1st century, Pelectatus, Eumerus. Romanized? I don't know. Huh. Handbuilt, Christianized, Byzantine, medieval. Mythographus, Vaticanus, Fulgentius. Why Greek mythology never died? It was the common cultural language of the entire Mediterranean for 800 years. It was taught in every school. Yeah, okay, so many names and so many interesting, but overall, Greek mythology and all the stories involved in Greek mythology assisted on the creation of consciousness, like the collective consciousness of humanity. And from there, I can see why many similarities in storytelling still are still relevant nowadays because of the structure and the familiarity that you can also um, feel with each of the stories. And even today, we can still see like um, world leaders or like celebrities or just people in your um, community, how they behave, how they contain certain traits of the stories of Greek mythology. So it's very interesting. I personally love the fact that we see art everywhere because as an artist, being inspired by stories and history in itself, it's very lifting and very inspiring just to see how stories from many centuries ago are still relevant today. So yeah, that's my opinion. Grok offers a very encapsulated summary of Greek mythology, which I really appreciate. It's very clear and it's it's real. It's interesting. So thank you for listening to this little narrative of the Greek mythology, and I hope this helps artists be inspired by it and just to create more inspiring art. It could be painting, it could be writing, it could be theater, it could be music. Yeah, I think there's so much evolution of art that we can be inspired thanks to the Greek mythology. So, bye, have a good day.